Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, your spiritual hype man. Super happy to be back, and I'm super happy to have a special, super special guest on the show. His name is Jeffrey Kovaleski. That is my brother. Absolutely happy to have my brother on the show. This is your first time being on the show, right, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
Say what's up to everybody, Jeff.
What's going on, everyone? How you doing?
Let's go. This is exciting. Actually, I'm happy that we get a chance to actually do this on the show. For people that have listened, they've definitely heard me speak about you. Definitely heard me speak about growing up. Definitely, definitely have heard me talk about mom. So this will be a good episode where we can reinforce and just kind of reinforce some of the things that I've talked about, and then just give your perspective on it, which I think is going to be pretty awesome. So if and basically for some people that may have not listened to the show yet, and most likely they'll listen because you're on it, right? So like you have your own following, and I'm sure when you share it, people are going to want to listen. If people haven't heard yet before, the nothing changes until you do. It's really just a way of thinking. It's a psychology. It's almost like just a way to think about life in terms of the macro level, and then how to make the changes that you want to in the outcomes or situations you're not happy with. So here's how I usually break it down. Life is just an accumulation of situations that you go from one situation to another situation over a long period of time. So from the day that you're born to the day that you die, you just go from one situation to another situation to another situation. And it's the decisions we make in those moments that then create an outcome. And so if we're not happy with these outcomes, then we need to go back and reverse engineer what was the decision we made in those moments, in those situations. And so thought, right? So we really need to figure out what was the influence, what was the thought, what was the emotion that drove that decision in that situation. So influence creates thoughts, thoughts drive emotion, emotion drive a decision, or sometimes not deciding, which would be like an inaction of not doing something. And then that creates your outcome, right? That creates your situation. And so throughout life, that's all we do. We go through situations, make a decision, get an outcome. And then then we can reevaluate and be like, hey, is this something that I'm happy with? If not, let me go reverse engineer and figure out next time that this comes up, I do something different. And that, in essence, is life, right? And that, in essence, what we're trying to showcase with people's stories, what they've gone through, what they're going through now, and then the things that they're making, the steps or the modalities that they're using to change what they want to change throughout their life. So, Jeff, thanks for being here, and I'm again super happy that you're here. All right, so let's start. I don't even know. Just give me a little background of who you are. Recently, obviously, what you've done recently as the Army, right? And then kind of give me a little reverse engineer, and then maybe we can start talking about our influences or something that you're working through, and then we can even talk about that and go through our family, go through growing up, our influences, and then we can go from there.
All right. Yeah. So, of course, I'm with the Army National Guard. 15.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah.
so, so right, 15 Tango UH-60 repair, which in fancy layman's term is a Black Hawk mechanic, right? Like whatever breaks, we take that off and replace it or fix it.
Right.
So they allow me to keep those things in the sky, which is kind of crazy because
Right.
you're a human doing this. There's no you have to follow everything by the book, which is great. But previous to this, I was working at a brewery called the Backward Flag Brewery, it's no longer in business. We closed our doors right before my deployment. So I came back from my deployment. I was in Kosovo about 3 months ago. So don't really want to talk about get into the Army stuff right now. That's not the point of today's topic. Maybe in February when I get out, or get your DD-214 for all you Army guys out there, your military people out there. It's when you get out the Army and you're done with your contract. But so yeah, was a brewer at a lead brewer at a brewery. It was a veteran owned, female owned. She was also 15 Tango herself. But prior to that as well, I was a dispensary technician for cannabis cultivation. So I kind of did everything in reverse. Usually you join the Army, then you start drinking, and then you start smoking pot. I was smoking pot, started drinking, then joined the Army. So, but yeah, so right, the culture around being at the brewery is like, of course you're making beer, drinking, and then it's like the normal. Like you wake up, you go taste the beer, do whatever you got to do for the day in terms of cleaning kettles or fermenters and whatever it is. But while you're doing it, you're drinking all day, doing your thing, which is not, you don't have to, but it's just like the lifestyle that you live at that point.
Yeah, I would say it's the influence.
Right. Well,
the influence of the situation really is what it is.
Right. And then mixture of like the military lifestyle where it's like, you know, that's the thing. Spirits is the culture. It's like it's you're a warrior. So again, you celebrate life and death with, a spirit. So um and right like that's generally what this point of the podcast is when I came back home, I was going a little crazy, right? Drinking a little too much, to the point where it was every day, where it was in excess, and wake up with anxiety, like not knowing what you did the night before, checking your text messages, apologizing to people. And it's like, how many apologize before it's like, all right, man, like you're either a piece of shit or you don't, you got to figure something out.
Yeah, I've been there. I've had that similar feeling where you wake up, you're like, fuck.
And especially like riding a motorcycle, going out and having a few drinks, it's like the point is not to get hurt or arrested, right? So I woke up one day and I had woken up on the floor of my own kitchen, which my house isn't that big. So it's like, 3 steps from the kitchen is my bedroom. It's like if I couldn't make it to my bed, there's a
Yeah, so, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong, right?
So
right.
I woke up and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
See, all right. So wait, let's slow down. So you literally just woke up and you were like on your kitchen floor, and you're like, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
Yeah.
And then you kind of realize you're like, "Oh shit, I drank way too much and I couldn't even make it to my bed." What was that feeling? Like, so if you were to like figure out what that feeling is and name it, what was that feeling?
I guess like sorry, Zoe is feeling a lot better. But yeah, like I guess like an epiphany, right?
Yeah.
Like
what was it? Were you like upset? Were you hurt? Were you disappointed? Like
I was like all those things. I was one. It's like
sad,
my fucking
like,
head hurt. Right? Yeah, I was like upset with myself, disappointed with myself. Give me 1 second. She wants camera time.
That's funny. Because here's what happened. Like, I feel like, and I've heard this throughout episodes when I talk with other people too. Like, we tell the story, but so I feel like sometimes we forget to like take a second to like encompass the feeling, and that's what I like to get from most people, because like that, I feel like, again, that feeling.
You're breaking up.
Yeah, can you hear me? That feeling.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. It's your Wi-Fi. You may have to reset your. Can you hear me now? So you shouldn't have picked up Zoe. Mic check 1 2. All right, so I'm gonna wait for you to get back, but I'm gonna keep talking so hey, the podcast goes on. But I feel like it's through everybody's story. It's like we tell a good story, or we can tell like these references back. But I also feel like sometimes we oversee the feeling, like we just kind of tell the story without the emotional tie to these certain situations. And it's fine. It's not that you have to be, so highly emotional on that time, specifically every time you tell the story. But I think for me, I feel like when we do reflect, it's important that, like, right, especially for this, to like figure out what those emotions were, and then how did those emotions really drive the decision to do something different. So yeah, so let's wait for Jeff. There he is. Micity check 1 2. You back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, probably. So yeah, so we were discussing. All right, so we were discussing the emotion that you were going through. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, your audio sounds a little bit different now.
see here.
Let me get a mic check and we can keep going, I think.
Can you hear me better or worse?
Worse. Definitely worse.
Worse, definitely worse.
So while you do while you do that, yeah, and that was basically what we were discussing is like I feel like sometimes when we tell our stories, Jeff, we tell them and then we sort of I don't know if we do it on purpose or just the way we tell stories, but it's like, we don't really share the feeling part, right? Like how you felt in those moments. You just sort of like, I woke up, for your examples, I kind of woke up on my kitchen floor and then, that was the day I decided to change my life, for the better. But I feel like, what was that feeling? Because that feeling was definitely the driver, right? Of like, okay, I don't want to fucking do this again because it makes me feel X. And that feeling is really what I feel leverages people to make a good decision and for people looking to make changes, right? So sometimes I feel like some changes are easier than others based on the value that we give it, right? So for you, it probably would be the way you felt in life and health and all that stuff in terms of what you want to be, where you want to be and how you want to feel. Sometimes if we don't, and I feel like if we don't kind of like feel it or live it or use it, then it could either it can work opposite of that, so you can bring you even lower, or it's sort of if you're not touching base on it on that feeling, then you can continue to start doing you continue to do the same thing. You keep living in that cycle without making some different changes. So yeah, so you back? You good? Let me get mic check 1 2.
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. That's good enough. We'll keep rolling. So yeah, so you woke up kitchen floor and right, obviously live on your own, which is great. So mom's not there fucking yelling at you. It was right.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the whole point of living alone is like you don't
So
have to
point of yeah, no, got it.
hear.
Okay, so take me through. So you were feeling disappointed. What was the first feeling? Like if I were to ask you like what jumps to mind first? Like if you were able to give a feeling, like a name that feeling, what was the first one?
Um,
Outside
Probably
of
like yeah, like 100% disappointment.
mm,
And like it's just exhaustion and then confusion as well. It's like what am I doing here? you know,
mm.
the aim was for the bed.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I mean like that was big. The biggest thing was probably disappointment with like within myself. It's just like man, like what I said to myself was like you got to stop doing this. It's like you're 30 years old. You're a fucking man. You're not a kid anymore. Like no one's here around you. You're not at a house party. Like you went out, you came home and decided to polish off. Old granddad 114. You know what I'm saying? And it's like for what reason? Like why? I don't. And the laughter I asked why. It's like yeah, like really, what's the problem? So I had to recalibrate.
Yeah.
And I had to look deep within myself and figure out what the hell's going on, which I've been doing, meditating, going, working out, reading books, um, you know, trying to find like another source other than like let me go and get shit faced every day, go out and spend hundreds of dollars for no reason, you know, given I go out, and do that anyway for like donations in terms of like veteran organizations stuff like that. But it's like I don't have to go and have a beer.
Yeah.
I don't have to go and like drink 30 beers and get my money's worth, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
So um really just like I had to figure it out and get the sneaks in my brain, screw my head on tight. Now, like I gave myself a goal and the first goal was like, oh, I'm gonna go 3 months. I'm gonna make it until I'm like out of the military and like not drink until then. But then I was like, you don't really have to have a time frame on things.
Mm.
You do things the way you need to do them. Like if you're good after 2 weeks, you're good after 2 weeks. If you're good after a month, you're good after a month. If you're good after a year, you're good after a year. But I've seen immediate changes within this past month. Just my energy, my happiness, in terms of my mood, energy for working out, and then like seeing my body change as well. Like I wanted to get back to what I was, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 180 pounds, ripped, shredded, rock climbing, killing climbs, not even
Yeah.
having to read them, just just flashing them.
Yeah, and for people that may not know you or may not watch the video on YouTube, which I would encourage you guys to watch the video on YouTube as well, even though most of our listeners are on the audio, Spotify, and all that stuff. Jeff is like a solid brick house. He's like a big fucking solid just block of mass. Like, you know what I mean? To like be able to climb the way you were climbing 5, 6 years. Yeah, super impressed. I remember when you were doing that quite a bit and you were sharing that. So like, it's almost like yeah, it's almost like a Brock Lesnar look, right? Like if you were like a Brock Lesnar climbing walls, that's kind of what you were doing at 180, you know. So super impressive, you know, for people that may not, just to get a visual of where you are, where you were, and then where you are now. But okay, all right. So you made that decision. It's been about a month. Has it been hard for you to not like drink, or
No,
was it harder last week, or was
no,
it?
it hasn't been hard at all.
Mhm.
I mean, like I haven't had the urge. Like I stopped and didn't have the urge. I still have 2 beers in my fridge, garage beers,
Mhm.
lying. Uh, my buddy came over for Labor Day. We decided to, go out and just drink here with ourselves. Go out, go on the town, just hang out, and then yeah, I mean, I left those 2 beers in there, like being like, yeah, you could have those. No one would know if I drank them, right? But
Right.
I would know.
Yeah.
Like my own conscience was like, man, you're a fucking piece of shit. Like
Yeah.
you told
Right.
yourself to do this, right?
That's cool.
You didn't do it. And I had bourbon on my table and everything. I haven't touched it in a month. Um, but I will say though, today at the point of this podcast, I was out. I did a fundraiser for vet work, um, with sponsored by Anon Nights, and there's a guy I saw from the brewery that old vet, old cool dude. Go over say hi to him, and a whole bunch of my friends are there, and he's like, "Hey man, gotta buy you a drink." And I thought about it. I took it all in. And I was like, you know what? I think it's time to reintroduce it and see if I could be moderate with it. Like this is the time to test my 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 intestinal fortitude.
Yeah,
It's
that's
been about a
crazy.
month. Right, it's been about a month, and I honestly nervous, like
Yeah.
nerve wracking. Like my knees started shaking, my hands started watering. I'm like, yo, like like, am I getting excited or am I like nervous that I'm like not stop today? And then my buddy Tom, who works at vet work, he came
Hey, hold
over.
on. And then you woke up on your kitchen floor again. No,
No,
this
no,
is
no,
good.
no. Well, no,
Just kidding.
no. So my buddy Tom gave me the idea for like sober September, quote unquote, right?
Uh,
He came over and he was like, you're gonna have a drink. I'm like, I was like, yeah, I think it's time. He goes, remember, you're the one in control.
mhm.
And I was like, that gave me the power of like, let me have this one drink. Literally lasted me all day. Like didn't even freaking finish it. Took the rest threw it out. I was like, there's nothing really to this. Like I don't
Yeah.
need it. And the reason why I took it is because he's an older gentleman. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna disrespect you by saying no. I could, and I don't think he would have taken it as a disrespect, but
Right.
old vet, old military, it's just what you do for each other, and that's just part of like that mentality from back then, right? So, I took it, and I don't feel anything of wanting it still. It's like
Mhm.
I don't feel like going back out. I don't feel like drinking the ones in my fridge. But now I know that I do have that self control to stop and not drink, or make the decision if I do want to have a drink or two with dinner or wings or whatever. And I was talking to my good friend Tori, the one who owned the brewery, and she was like, when your moment is to test yourself. No one else is gonna be like, this is your time. It's all on you.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
felt,
No, I can definitely agree. I definitely agree as far as like, I think you to an extent, right? Because I feel like some people have the ability to like to know, and then some people think they have the ability to know, and then they kind of like don't, right? And then they kind of get into the same situation. That's kind of like where you get into addiction and things like that. So I do agree that like I guess my only ad would be like if you have the mental fortitude to like understand that and kind of really go through it and make your own call based on the decisions you made. But again, you like I would say your story is pretty awesome too, because like you woke up on your kitchen floor like not knowing, and to the severity, right? So like I feel like that's like if you look at the type of drinking that you were doing, could be equal to somebody that maybe might not have the ability to decide when they're ready to do it on their own. So I just want to like I just wanted to be clear on that as far as kind of my thoughts and perspective on. I think it depends on the individual, and I think it also just sort of depends on the amount of fortitude. Even though, again, someone who may not have the ability to test themselves would have equal to them waking up on the kitchen floor. That's kind of like my point. It's like I think it's for each individual, and then how they really know themselves, if they have the ability to actually know themselves, is I guess my point. Like the awareness check, like if you have the
Right.
ability to really.
A lot of people don't have that that awareness, right? Like I woke up and I was like, this is the stuff I want to do. I am spending so much money on going out, like,
Yeah,
anywhere between $60 to $120 a freaking night,
yeah, and that's
to
on the
go out.
low end, right?
Yeah, and that's like one night. That's
Yeah,
like 4 or 5 hours,
just on
maybe.
alcohol, right?
Right. And it's like not eating, not doing anything like that.
Yeah,
And like that day when I woke up, I was like, man, you're destroying your pockets, you're destroying your body. Why don't you take the money that you're gonna use to go out and drink like crazy and heavy, and go use that on your health. Go get vitamins, go get protein, go get creatine, go
yeah,
to the gym, go
yeah.
do the things you like doing
Put a
again.
little away in savings. Yeah, right, for sure.
Right.
Um, can I ask you how long were you drinking at that level?
What do you mean?
Like, how long were you drinking at that level of like being super drunk, or like extensively drinking, where
I
you
mean,
were
it's
just
probably going
compelled?
on 2 months, probably like right from the time I got home. It could, and especially like you get home, everyone wants to hang out with you. You go out, you party, and then like having like that kind of in between
Yeah,
vacation time,
that little independence from like being in the service to like being out, and then
but then also independent from like because you have a break from your job, right?
right.
Like you don't have to go back to work for another like 60. I think it's like 60 days. I
Mm,
may not be sure. I'm pretty sure it's 60 days to your job until like they have the option to let go of you. So it's like now you're on vacation, and it's like I got nothing better to do but to go drink. It's like what am I
yeah.
gonna do? I'm gonna go hit the bar. I'm gonna go ride around and go hit a bar. It's like it's what I was thinking of. Um,
Now, where do you think that came from? Like the thought of like just your I guess automatic response was to go drink. Do you think that was from obviously being a brewmaster, being in that sort of every day, drinking, partaking, and then did that also come from, again, this is where I want to touch base of maybe family influence, like seeing pops. Obviously, mom used to drink, but not a lot. But then she would and get nuts, and then like pops would drink almost like I don't know if every day, but definitely there'd be a lot of it. Like, do you think that was part of something that you were like, hey, I want to get into this type of job thing? Because
I
like,
mean, it wasn't. It was. I don't think it was that. I mean, I remember there was on the History Channel there was How It's Made, and like that had like very big influence on me as a kid because I know how like all soap is detergent. I know how yarn is made, which is kind of weird to have that as a TV show, but I sat there and watched it. But then I remember they gave the history on how beer is made, and I really enjoyed that. I was like, that is so cool.
how old
You
were
know,
you?
I was maybe like 10 or 11,
Hmm.
and then like the influence of pops drinking. I now tell him like, oh, this is how the beer is made, that and that and that. And explain to him, and he was like, that's awesome. How do you know this? And I was like, oh, History
Yeah,
Channel. you
yeah,
know?
like positive reinforce of you being excited about making beer at 10 years old. It's
But
like,
yeah,
yeah,
and like there, the whole world has revolved around it, and that like it's going back to the history of it. It was made as a source of drinking, but that beer that they made back then, you know, it had like as little as 2% in it, so you were able to drink it because you couldn't drink the water. It was
mm,
infected. People would shit in their own drinking water,
right,
upstream and downstream. They were drinking, and everyone gets sick.
yeah,
So the way of purifying it was with the magic stick that the monks would mix this brew that they had, and then
yeah,
they never realized that they thought the magic stick was like divine, intervention of God that would give them the source of drinking fluid, which is
Yeah.
really the stick would constantly create yeast on it, and that's how it would ferment. So that's a quick breakdown. I could get really
That
get
was your historical history
I
channel
could really get into it,
snippet.
but I'm not gonna nerd out on it
No,
really. So
yeah, no, it's cool. Well, you obviously brewed it for a while, so no one's testing that. It's just more of a question, really. Like, really, I don't know if you've ever really kind of look back a question like, where did this influence of like
yeah, I
making
mean,
beer come from?
absolutely. Like it's familial. It's I remember going out to the Lobners and everybody. I don't want to name them by name, but I just did. We go out there. Everyone's having drinks. It was just like everyone got
Yeah,
together around
right,
it.
right.
And like as you got older, you and your friends would party. You'd go out to
Yeah,
PB frat house stuff, and I would look. I'd be like, that's cool. Like everyone. It's
these
like
guys are
a
fucking
American.
partying.
Yeah, it's like an American Pie movie.
Yeah,
And
it really was an American Pie movie. And I took you out there mad early, mad young.
yeah, I was
One,
like,
because I wanted to be the cool brother, which I obviously was. But two, yeah, like if you think about it now, like that influence, it definitely plays into, your psychology while you grow up and then the things that like why you make decisions. Which is crazy to think about it, actually. I don't think I would, I definitely don't think I would change those moments of like taking you out early on when you were there. Cause like, for me, I guess it was my own personal feeling of like, wow, like these guys are awesome, and I am the cool big brother, and I'm giving these guys an experience that they probably like would no one their age would have, right? So part of that is that, and then looking at it back at it, I'm like, well, I guess part of it, the influence of seeing all that stuff, that sort of lived in your head somehow, right? Like unconsciously, subconsciously, or consciously, somehow made some sort of impact in terms of like what we thought at that time was cool or how we, did things, etc. Still fun, still fun to talk about and to know some of the things you
I
did.
mean, we had some of the best memories we've ever had, but like, I'm not gonna put blame on that being who I was today. I mean, I have my own emotional shit, my own baggage, my own drama, right?
Yeah.
Everyone does. My own mental issues that I needed to focus on, whether it's like gluttonous or laziness or, you know, running from my own problems of, relationships and stuff like that,
Mhm.
instead of just addressing them as a person, and then fixing them. So I would just be like, boo hoo, woe is me, instead of being like, hey man, no, you're the one who fucked up.
Yeah.
You need to take, accountability for this and fix it and forgive yourself and move on. So, which
Yeah.
which which I've had the ability to do, just you know, meditating and talking to myself, and
Yeah.
not like a weird like asylum type of way, like
Yeah. Right. I
deep
get it.
conversation within myself as
Yeah.
to what I need to do to make myself feel better. Because no one else is going to do that for me.
100%. 100%. What's interesting to me is that like some of the things that you're dealing with or have dealt with or continue to deal with are some of the things I dealt with, and there's still to a certain extent still dealing with a few things that I'm like, just I feel like it's probably been the longest thing that I've been doing for a while, right? So it's not funny, but again, interesting that like, the whole relationship thing with you, the whole of like just like feeling like shit or like woe is me sort of thing. So like, and again, I don't think this is specifically just you and me because there's plenty of people out there that kind of go through similarities of like feeling that way. But I think it does come back down to some of the things that we've dealt with or that generation dealt with while growing up, or not having or having as a child, like as a child when parents sort of being the way they are, right? So one of the things that I've been working on and I've been more aware of in the last maybe year or 2 years is just the being in that flight or fight mode all the time. So just there hasn't been like I've realized that there weren't a lot of times or days that like I was even keel. It was either like I was in some sort of stress mode, fight or flight kind of thing, and just being like, yeah, whatever needs to happen needs to happen, and we've got to go, and we're gonna go like. And that's still, I think, the biggest thing I'm working through to kind of slow my roll down, be present without having all these thoughts in my head of like what ifs, what can'ts, et cetera, et cetera. But I've realized that it's a lot of what like grow like even before you, like it was a lot of like even when mom like would say like, hey, I'm gonna be home by 3, right? When we were little, like 8 years old. Like I'll be home by 3, I'll be here after work. Just to come, come to school, like go after school, come to the fucking apartment, don't move, I'll be back. Trust me, And it was like it was like 3:05, and I would freak out because I'd be like, oh fuck, where the fuck is mom? And so like I realized that, and again, I don't know if it was that just that, but it was like or getting in trouble, right? Like sort of the walking in eggshell sort of thing, where you're sort of apprehensive on like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Is this person going to be okay? What do they think about me? Is that good? And am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? I think there's been a combination of that throughout the last like whatever 30 years, where for a while I was just living in this without being conscious of like, wow, this is exactly what's happening to me. And then figuring out a way to like you're talking about these different modalities of like slowing down, whether it's meditation, talking to yourself, but at least of being aware of it. And then you start changing, you start kind of, doing these different things to get away from that. So a good example for me is like sometimes when I can feel like I'm fucking either nervous or excited or like whatever that fucking high, stress zone is, I try to go outside or I try to like slow down for like 20 minutes, 15 minutes and just do a little bit of breath work or listen to some sort of meditation that kind of like soothes me. It's like almost like soothing a baby. You know what I mean? Like when the baby is crying or like that's like our stress mode or our stress levels. So for me, it's like being soothed. There's been times that I had to like kind of tell myself like, Wilson, you're okay, man. Like there's nothing wrong with you. You know what I mean? Like you're good. Like just chill the fuck out before you have a heart attack. How does that hit with you? Like what's your thought
I
based on
100%, I 100% agree with the fight or flight. I mean, like for so long, it's always been that way, and I attribute to like probably more or less getting in trouble, right? Because like there was always things like if you did this, you got it. If you didn't do this, you got it. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
Or it's like all these people know who your parents are. If something happens, you're in trouble. Like if you're out acting them up, you're in trouble. Like
Yeah,
and like there was no taking the risk of having fun because that risk is going to lead to your ass getting whooped. you know?
yeah, right.
But like right, going back to having that anxiety, right? Like today, like when I was going to have that drink, I got shaky, got nervous, right? And I'm like, I feel like I'm about to get in trouble. Like I'm doing something wrong.
Yep, yep.
But I have the power to control it. I have free will. I
Yeah,
have the ability to be like, nah, I'm good, or like, you know what? I'm gonna accept this. I'm gonna take it, but I'm not gonna lose my mind, right? Like
yeah,
I have the ability to be like, nah, man, you broke yourself back, broke yourself in. So I agree that I think it's more or less that mode of like protecting yourself and inadvertently trying to protect yourself, right? Subconsciously,
yeah,
uh, you are hurting yourself.
yeah,
So you're not right taking the time to enjoy what's going on around you. You're trying to just get it. You're trying to get whatever scenario you're in done and over with, so you can either go home and relax or not be in the scenario of anxiety, which is
right.
putting that.
A
You know,
100%, bro. Yeah, 100%. And the more and more I realize, I'm like, dude, that's just how, and again, I'm sure it wasn't there. It wasn't, obviously we're talking specifically mom because Pop was a little more even keel. And I think that was a good balance to help us out, not going fucking crazy all the time. But I feel like that has been something that like throughout, we haven't been really too conscious. Like, wow, that's come from being little, bro. Like being little and like, it's some shit, like, all right, so here, we haven't even talked in a minute, like we haven't queued anything. Sometimes, right? Like on the weekends, how would you, right? Like remember the weekend where it's like, oh fuck, we can go to school. Like, were there times that you were not looking forward to the weekends
yeah,
growing up?
yeah. Because you're
Right.
like,
So
I have to stay on all day and then make sure I don't fuck up because you do something wrong or
you're
you don't do something right.
yeah, you're
Uh,
walking on fucking
and
eggshells,
like
right?
pop. So me, Mark, mom, pops, and Mark's boyfriend went out for Mark's birthday,
Yeah,
and I was jokingly talking about getting my ass whooped. You getting your ass whooped, Mark,
yeah,
not getting his ass whooped.
yeah. Not getting
But
his like once or twice for sure.
and the thing was, pops was always a savior, right? Like he'd come
Yeah,
home from work and be like, what the fuck,
Yeah,
like
this is not how you do it, right?
we're dodging belts, we're jumping under tables. You're sitting there, taking hits like a fucking champ, or like
Yeah,
we're behind you. And it was like, it's funny to look back on, but
yeah.
it's actually not that, it's not that funny.
Right, 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 right. It's
Like,
kind of fucked
'cause
up, but yeah,
but you gotta laugh at it though, like,
yeah.
because and on top of it, I don't think I'd be the person I was today
Well,
if
of course.
that didn't happen. I
Yeah,
feel like
totally different
I
people.
I feel like I'm stronger as a person because I was able to forgive mom.
Yeah,
You know, to this day, whatever it is, it's not it's I don't hold that anymore.
mm,
I don't hold the anger towards her anymore, or whatever it was. You know, um, I guess like disappointment in terms of seeing, talking to people and like trauma dumping as in terms of like a joke.
right.
Everyone like kind of like stops and stares at you like you're a fucking weirdo, and you're like, oh, you guys didn't go through that. Like that wasn't
Right.
your
Yeah,
childhood. And
yeah,
you're like, to us, it's you're trying to make a joke, make light of it, kind of, you know, put it out of this evil context, which it wasn't the intention. The intention
yeah,
was to create good people, but
yeah.
inadvertently creating people who have fucking problems with being in a crowded room.
Exactly. Right. And doing the right thing, and is everything okay? And it's like, fuck, man. Like, yeah, yeah. Isn't that fucking nuts when you think
And
about it?
also, right, and then like on top of it, like being asked the question too many times, you're like, yeah, no, yep, and then you're like, no, yes, and you're like, look, man, fucking stop asking me these questions. Like, I'm good, I'm good. And then
Right.
like now it changes you to like being like, now I'm not good, now I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
You have to
Right.
keep asking.
Yeah. Stop asking me. So for people that are listening, the references like mom sometimes like she just continues asking you after like the first or second time you're like yes or no, and it's like and it's just constant. It's like okay, right? So I'm assuming when you kind of see the similar like out there when people are asking you like, dude, like what are you doing? Like you're like trauma. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
100%. And I would 1,000% agree, on the fight or flight, and like it comes down to even protecting each other, right? Like we would be out and about, and it was just like hyper vigilant of like, you don't fuck with my brother, and we won't fuck with you, right? Like we're just
mm,
like,
yeah,
and that primarily showed when I was younger. When I ended up going to the juvenile detention center for
yeah,
protecting Mark.
yeah.
So, background story: fractures some guy's eye socket because he pushed my brother to the street when car was coming.
Yeah,
32.
yeah. Which was which was crazy that like you stood in as like the protector, and then you were the one that got in trouble. And I remember that time. And I always like mentioned, I was like, well, it'd be crazy if it were if the outcome was different. And I'm kind of happy. Well, I don't want to say I'm happy that you went, to juvie, but I'm happy that Mark didn't get fucking crushed by a vehicle.
Right.
Thanks to you, right? Like because like it would have been different if like you would have retaliated if Mark got hurt retaliated, then there would have been like I don't think you would have, I think the other person would have been gotten in trouble versus you retaliating for whatever, right? But the fact that like you stood in to protect Mark was like definitely the basis of like who you are as an individual, and I think who we are like as a together, you, me, and Mark as like a group, we're always going to want to protect each other from things that aren't good. So yeah, that was crazy. And that was nuts. So Jeff, take me a little bit through that. Like, how old were you?
I was 13. I was eighth grade.
13,
It was
eighth grade, right?
October 14th, which ironically is my alive day. So also background story. I died in a motorcycle accident. October 14th, 2018.
Wow.
2018.
So you just have to stay home October 14th. And that's coming up. So just stay
Yeah,
home.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
do
I'm definitely
anything.
not going out. Definitely not in this house. Me and Zoe are cuddling up.
Just make
I'm
sure
shutting off the breaker to the house. Like I don't want no electrical
yeah,
fires.
just like just fucking get a bubble or something from Amazon or something. Well, I don't even know, man. Like just
uh,
stay put. Have
yeah,
Mark watch you.
yeah.
Hire Mark to watch you.
That's
Yeah.
not going on.
So yeah, we can talk a little bit about that, but take me through like I guess the way you were feeling like take me through how you were feeling at that time, because like you ended up going to juvie for a little bit, and then I feel like that. So the way I see it, like just kind of looking back, is like I feel like certain situations like that, and then
Oh, yeah,
obviously,
it 100% resonated with me, like in terms of, and stayed with me in terms of memory, right? So
yeah,
I remember this to this day, right? So this is at the time the mom and pops are getting a divorce, right?
okay,
This is when we're losing the house on Martul. Um, we lost a childhood home due to the housing crash of 2005.
in
And
2008 or five,
oh, maybe in 2007 actually.
7, yeah, going into that 2008, because 2008 was when it actually happened. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got dropped off at a friend's house. So this friend that I had that would take us and we would walk to school with, another friend of his, who it was the bully at the time, would get dropped off his house also. And it was always like I try to be like one ear out the other, in one ear out the other with this guy. Try not, just leave it be. He doesn't touch you, you don't touch him, because it
Oh,
was a
so it
chain.
was just it was constant, like just like saying
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, it was all the time. And at the time he would always pick on Mark. Mark would, talk his shit back, whatever. But it never got physical because, I think he always had this thing of knowing that I was there.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think one day he wanted to test his luck. We're on the way to school, and this is the time they made us wear uniforms, and Mark's collar kept popping up.
Hmm.
And the kid's like talking to him in this voice of like someone who has like a mental disability. And this is
Mm.
the time Mark had a problem with his speech impediment.
Yeah, speech impediment, right?
So the kid goes to grab him, he throws him into the street, and the car's on the way. Thank God the car is sort of out the way, but I was standing right there. And
Wow.
within a split second, I was like, I get to unleash all my anger of
Yeah,
everything that's going on in my life, plus you fucking
yeah,
with me. And
yeah.
this is gonna really hurt. And like this was in a split second. I just went boom. I remember I hit this kid so hard that like it sounded like you smashed a rock on the ground,
Oof.
like clacking of like rock on cement.
Yeah.
And then he bent over and grabbed his face, and I was like, I just will
Right.
finish it. so I let everything that I had loose on this guy.
You just
And
fucking rolled on him.
yeah, I mean, I hit him two good times with, I remember two punches underneath, hit him right in the face, and then I threw a knee, and he went flying like a Mortal Kombat character.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
comical thinking back on
Federation.
it.
Right,
As a
right, 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 right,
right,
right.
as a
Not at the time, but for sure, like he got
thinking
his
back on it, right?
he
Because I'm
got his
old
he's
enough
got
to
he
know.
got his he got his 3 piece is what he got.
Right. So, and
The fries.
at the point, from what everyone in school would have told you, would have, he came up to me and said he got what he deserved because he did this to everybody.
Yeah, right.
Um, but I'm also not going to put past the trauma of like what makes a bully, right? Like because there's obviously something that happened to him to make him that way, right?
100%. 100%.
So it's like
His
it's not
influence, his parents, most likely
right.
dad, mom, something.
It's not like he was born and it was like I'm gonna fuck with every kid.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
are some of those bad seeds, but it wasn't him.
right.
Right, me growing up and understanding that. So I had the ability also to forgive him in the past. But ultimately, what happened to me is I ended up going to school. I remember it was in Mr. Blackmore's class. They called over the radio, Mr. Jeffrey Kovaleski, Jeff Kovaleski, the principal's office. They obviously knew what happened
Yeah,
already. So it
yeah.
was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I punched him in the face. I hit him twice, always bent over, and I threw a knee. And it was like they were awestruck. They're like, "Oh my god, you hit him with a knee!" This, I was like, "Did you not hear the part of him pushing my brother into a street when a car was coming?" They're like, "Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't matter because you fractured his eye socket." And I didn't realize I hit him so hard his eye actually popped out from it being held into his head.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah. And so that was like, that was just literally I was in shock. I remember going to the precinct, mom coming in crying. I remember being like handcuffed to this bench, then processing me and then transporting me to GDC, which was in East Brunswick, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I remember visiting you a couple times, and once or twice.
yeah, I remember going there and
I think.
like I went in. I actually knew people who were in there because they happened to be on my football team at the time, the Giants. and they're like, "What are you doing in here?" I'm like, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah, yeah, right.
They're like, "Well, the one kid's like, well, I robbed the bank." The other kid's like, "Well, I was with him." I was like, "What the fuck?"
What's wrong with you guys, man?
Yeah.
Right.
And then I was like such in shock that they gave me this cell and I went to go sit on my bed. And then it sounded like everything was underwater. Like it just like everything was muffled. And I remember this I guess like CO came over and she was like telling me to get out the room and I was like looking at her and I couldn't hear her. I
Mm.
had no idea what she was saying. And I remember like the two guys came over and like they were like, "Yo, he's in shock. He's in shock. He just got here. He just got here." And she's like, "I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck." Like yelling at me. I'm like, "Oh shit." So I come out and um, it was like chow time at the point. I couldn't even eat. But I was there for 3 months because the judge decided to go on a vacation after they had switched my previous judge who let me out. But I will never forget this guy's name is Judge Daly. He we came for the second hearing and he was like, "You are a menace to society. You don't belong in society, and I'm sending you back to juvenile detention center after already being released."
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Whoa.
yeah.
Dude, I don't think I had that full story yet, or I don't remember, but goddamn, dude, like that's crazy. So you had all this hope. You're like, oh wow, okay, I'm good, I'm out, and then all of
Yeah,
a sudden,
I
like,
was like the justice system, right? They know right from wrong. They know
yeah,
who's
and then all
guilty.
of a sudden you get told like, yo, you need to go
You're
back. You're going back
yeah.
in. Like they were like,
Especially
psych, nigga. Oh shit.
especially as like a 13-year-old boy, right? They're like, or a 13-year-old teenager, they're saying you're a menace to society. It's like I'm
Yeah.
not even like I'm just and then which is crazy because on my way in being processed, everyone asked me what happened, and every single person from CO to nurse to police officer would have been like, I would have killed him.
Mm,
So
yeah.
so it's like, everyone up until the judge was was like, you're in the right.
Yeah.
So which
Right.
really, really screwed me up as a kid. But
Yeah. Yeah.
finally, they
Well,
did.
well, hold on. So take me to yeah. Okay. So then you had to go back for how long?
It was supposed to be a week, but then within that week, the judge decided to take a vacation for 3 months. So from October 14th to December 14th, he was gone. December 14th, he came back, or I guess it was a couple days before that, because the 14th is when I was able to appear in front of him.
Hmm.
And I will never forget this, because my lawyer came up to me. He said, "Look, we can fight this, and if we try to fight this, you have to stay in juvenile detention center, or if, there's a plea deal of 1 year probation. After 1 year probation, they expend your record." He's like, they did an investigation. They found out that the kid was actually the instigator. They did interviews with people in the school. They found out that he's actually the bully and been suspended multiple times for fighting.
Mm,
But there's a probability of you being, convicted by this judge.
yeah.
And he was like, just take the plea deal. He goes, I know who this judge is. Take the
Yeah.
plea deal. And the judge was a pretty harsh judge. So I took the plea deal and they did the whole, stand up, everybody, this and that, blah, blah. And I will never forget what he said. He goes, consider this an early birthday present.
Mm,
You get to be released 2 days early before your birthday.
mm,
And I was like, as if that was a gift.
mm,
Like it was just like, it was crazy because it's like, that's where like my fear for, again, a secondary like fight or flight, like my fear for doing anything wrong
yeah.
at all. And
Yeah.
then like flash forward, to present day, you know, alcohol helps me like not have that
Mm,
nervousness so
mm.
much of like, oh, you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a great point, Jeff, because I feel like I've seen you. So a couple years ago, like throughout before you left to go, in the service, could you? Uh, so I guess what I'm saying is like I've seen, because I've also played that out where like I sort of turned into this thing where it was like I don't give a fuck, I don't give a shit about anybody else. I'm just gonna go do me, and I'm gonna go do it how I want. I don't care what people are thinking, right? Because like it was the opposite of like being fucking nervous or being scared or like the
Right.
opposite of that, right?
Yeah, it
And
took all
everyone,
your inhibitions away.
what's that?
Right? It took all your inhibitions of like,
Yeah,
you're
like there's been moments in my life where all of a sudden I've decided I was like, you know what, I don't like, and it when I was fueled by like alcohol and like, you know, overuse of drugs, right? Like there is this like thing of separation where you don't have to worry about it too much and everyone can go fuck themselves. I'm gonna just go do whatever the fuck I want. And to a certain extent, it feels good because like you don't have that external or internal fight or flight mode. You just have I'm fucking I'm just gonna live my life and do my thing. And
Right.
I realized that you were going through some of those stages throughout your life, but I realized I think it was like not 2 3, maybe it was like 2 or 3 years ago, something like that, when we came out, we hung out like 2 or 3 years, whatever, we were in Jersey or something like that, and you just sort of came in with this like I don't want to say persona, but it was like a way of being where it was like you just didn't give a fuck and you just kind of like did whatever you wanted to do and told everybody to go shut the fuck up. And to a certain extent, there was like, to me, when I reflect back on it, I was like I was kind of caught off guard for a little bit because I was like, man, I've never seen Jeff in that demeanor, because like you've always had almost like, you know, the way that you are is like a respectful, like you sort of listen and talk and then, you know, you kind of, but when I'm referencing again, it was just this moment where I was like, man, that's not really like the Jeff I used to like. I remember as far as like the way he is with people. But then I also realized, so I don't know, again, I don't know if those were moments too that were kind of shaping up with like what was going on in your external situations in terms of life, like relationships, the job, and even the people at the brewery, right? So like I don't know if that was like a mix of things, and then it just sort of became you for a while. Because now that I've seen you, or now that I talk to you, I don't see I don't see that, like I don't see that level of it, or I don't see like the level of, I don't want to say disrespectful, but it was like borderline kind of disrespectful. I was like, fuck is going on here? I never said it to you like in back then because like I didn't want to, and I think for me it was just more of like, I think you're just going through this stages of your life that you're fucking figuring out, or you're kind of like being the way you're being because of, you know, whatever may be happening. So I didn't want to step over like too many boundaries. But does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of like the whole disrespectfulness, I would say I ended up creating like a secondary persona, like a Dr. Jekyll,
Yeah.
Mr. Hyde thing,
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly what it was. That's what it
Because
felt like.
like Mr. Hyde is protecting Dr. Jekyll
Yeah.
inadvertently causing harm to Dr. Jekyll, right?
Yeah.
So, and then like at the same time, it was like I didn't, I was tired of being the nice guy, right?
Mm.
You know,
I think a lot of people go through that. You know,
right? Like I was tired of like getting
you
fucking
give and
sent
give and
off,
give.
stomped on, saying yes to everybody, but when I
Mhm.
fucking need you, you ain't there for me. So like, I was fatiguing out, exhausted. I was having emotional fatigue, right? And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna say what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself. That's how
Yeah.
I, I was like, I was over the yes, let me be nice to you. You're probably gonna give it back to me. So like at that point in my life, I was like, you know what? I've never expected anything for anybody, but I give more than what I get.
Mm.
So it's like I'm not gonna give anything anymore, even the the niceties that
Mhm.
we enjoy in our everyday life. So which I do and I don't regret because I allowed my inside voice to come out and say the shit that I need to say. At the same time, the people that want to be there and understand it are still here, right? They're
Yeah.
still my friends. But the people that can't handle the nice Jeff and the good and the Mr. Hyde, right? The Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, they can't
Yeah.
handle, you know, there is going to be a time where, sure, yeah, I'm going to slip up and say some crazy fucking shit, you know, and like I'm going to lose my mind, which is fine because everyone's allowed to have that. We're humans, we're not robots, you
Yeah.
know. Or like I'm trying to be more logical as a person, but in terms of like being this solidified piece of matter, it's like no, like I want to feel things. I'm
Right.
not gonna start pushing things down like I used to.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
good. Now, you know what's crazy for me? It's like I find sometimes when I do that, like, and I've had different cycles of that where I'm like, you know, extremes. Some are somewhat extremes, and some are like, you know, a little bit tamer as far as like I'm just gonna fucking be myself. Like I'm just gonna tell it the way it is because sometimes sometimes I bite my own, you know, like I sort of reserve back, you know, in the way that I'd like to say something to, either for someone to get it or hit. But is it true that like, or do you feel like when you did that there was almost like a level of respect giving, like, or there was like a level of more people paying attention to what you were saying or how you were saying, when you weren't taking like, you know, when you were sort of being more assertive in that way?
yeah, I absolutely do. Like I said, right, there's positive and negatives to it. Like the negative is like sometimes like I say off the wall shit, and people are like, "Man, that guy is fucking nuts. Like he is, you know, he's losing his mind." But there's other times where I'm like, you know, I say whatever I need to say, and people listen, and they're like, "Oh shit!" Like there is a reason and a method to his madness,
Hmm.
or like, I'm not gonna fuck with that guy. I'm gonna just stay the fuck out of his way because he's on his own agenda.
Hmm.
And that's kind of like what I wanted because I was tired of doing things for other people, you
Yeah.
know, and like that again, that was, and you know, most of it was alcohol influenced, but at the same time, I allowed that to happen. You know, I
Yeah.
wanted it to happen.
Yeah, of course, because like I'm right there with you because it's like for how long and how long, you know, for how long and will you give and give and give until send someone, you know, someone gets upset and sort of fucking freaks out or break something, you know what I mean? And I think you're right. Like I think that's been cases for me and obviously for you where it's like you're just like I'm just gonna go say what's on my mind, what's in my feelings, and you know people can either like it or not like it. Now I think so. I think that's important, right? So I feel like the point of that is like being right. People have being just being authentic to your feelings, yourself, who you are, comma. And I would say now that we know or we've gone through certain history or certain things that we've done, I think being authentic is the key, right? Or like having that feeling of like I'm gonna truly tell you and share with another human being or another person in this situation how I feel my feelings by without feeling reserved or without feeling like I'm doing something wrong. I think it's just how we do it now, right? Like the delivery. Before it was like, go fuck yourself. I don't give a shit. This is what it is. Go fuck yourself, sort of thing, right? Like kind of that attitude. Where now
Yeah,
it's like, you know, kindly go fuck yourself,
yeah.
but this is how I feel, right? So instead of, you know what I mean? Like I feel like the better we get at the underlying message that we speak to people or how we speak to people, that it is our authentic self, it is how I feel, it is what I'm passionate about, and not having to think about am I right, am I wrong, is this, am I offending someone, you know, like you know, like that walking on eggshell thing when you go to have these interactions, the delivery then
That,
becomes better.
I
uh
think that I think that's also where like it partly stems from, right? Like it's like we've been walking on eggshells for so long in our life that like at that point, there's a point where I was like, you know, enough's enough.
yeah,
You know, I'm not doing this anymore.
yeah.
Like I have the ability to be like, yo man, I don't fucking like you. I don't like you. That's it. Right?
I
Like,
know, man.
to
that
your
that
face, I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you, I don't fucking like you. Get the
yeah,
fuck out of my face. Let me enjoy my beer. You know,
yeah,
and like that's how I was operating. You know,
yeah,
and some people loved it, some people hated it.
yeah,
That's how I was operating, and inadvertently causing harm, but also protecting myself at the same time, which is
yeah,
like it's like a double-sided sword, the catch 22,
yeah. That's a great example because that's something I actually look up to you on that because I'm like, man, he has the ability just to tell someone to go fuck off or in a way, you know, obviously you said probably go fuck off, but just to be that direct and then that truthful to someone if you don't want to talk to him. I was always like, man, that's something that, you know, Jeff has, like, is like, you know, I've always had an issue with that. I've always had an issue to be like somewhat confrontational with someone and telling someone to go fuck themselves. You know, unless like kind of like what happened when you snap, right? And I think that's a little bit different. But to be able to do that in the way that you do it, or just, you know, speak your truth is always something I'm like, man, that you know, fucking Jeff, go Jeff, you know, like in the background.
And then also, but on the flip side, right, it's like I'm always looking for acceptance, right? And
Yeah,
I kind of
likewise.
noticed that about myself, where
Yep,
like
me too.
some people have come up to me and be like, I don't like you, right? And it's like, now I'm gonna make you love me.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
gonna do everything in my power to make sure that you love me as a person and you
Yeah.
look at me like, and that see that guy there, I fucking wish I'm him. Like,
Yeah.
and it's worked. That's actually how I became real best friends with my friend Trevor. So I
Mm.
remember working at the brewery, right? And I came in and he's sitting there drinking a beer and I'm working behind the bar. It's a couple weeks in, and everyone had left and it's just me and him. So I had bought boots online, combat boots, thinking that they're gonna be black. They should have tan. I guess like it did something to his mental because I think he thought like I was trying to like, be like, oh, I'm this person that I'm not. So I remember him being like, I don't like you, and I'm like, well, I'm like, why? I didn't do anything good. I just don't like you. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna make you love me. And I remember we sat there and drank, beer for beer, shot for shot. Well, I mean, we're not supposed to have shots there, so beer for beer, right? And we talked, and I remember him calling me out, being like, you ain't gonna join the army. You're a fucking pussy, this and that. And I was like, all right, buddy, watch this shit. So I showed up the next day. I went and took like a fake ASVAB.
Uh you froze, Jeff. If you can hear me, reload the page. Reload the page real quick. All right, so we're gonna wait for Jeff again. There we are. Mic check 1 2. I can hear you now. Okay, so you're sitting with
Yeah,
the sitting
yeah.
with your
So I'm
homie.
sorry, I keep losing connection. I know what's going on.
Go on.
So yeah, so right, talking shit, whatever. I went and I ended up going and actually doing the whole ASVAB, and then going and signing my life away without telling anybody. And I showed up and I was like, "Yo, check this shit out."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Holy fuck!" He's like, "I didn't think you were that crazy." I go, "First of all, don't ever challenge my fucking manhood, and second of all, I always win my fucking bets." And then from that point forward, he like respected me.
Yeah.
He was like, "Man, this
Yeah.
guy's not fucking around,"
Yeah.
and we just became best friends off of that. Just from that. So it's like, again, right? Um, Positive and negatives. So,
Right.
uh, but like I've always done that. Like I've always looked for acceptance, and like back then when someone didn't accept me, I just was like, oh well, I guess I'll just feel bad. But now it's like, no, I'm gonna do my best to make you like me. So,
Mm.
but at the same time, if I don't like you, you're not gonna change my fucking mind. So,
That's funny. Yeah, no, I would definitely say it's great to know you and to be your brother. Like it's you made a huge impact in my life for sure. Even as a little baby, they probably don't even remember. Just being you was always awesome, and then just having like someone to fucking take care of. As far as like like come with me, man. I'm gonna teach you some of these ways. So, yeah. I feel like there's a couple. Okay, so I guess we can talk. Okay, well, let's just talk about where you're at now. So 30 days out, you had your drink. Now, what's your thought about changing, moving forward as far as the drinking and what are you working on right now as far as with the drinking and then maybe the mindset stuff?
so I mean, the drinking really is just like I just didn't want to do it every single day, right? I don't want to have it control my life to where it's like I dread waking up. I dread having to, go like just get up and do anything. I just didn't want that to have a control over my life
Mhm.
because I knew that I'm able to do so much more. And like physically, or I look at myself every morning like I was trying to go on a diet. I was doing whatever I can to like feel fitter, feel better, and I wasn't losing any weight. I wasn't seeing any definition of my muscles, and I'm like, there's got to be something. So I was like, you know what? Let's stop this.
Mhm.
So that's one of the reasons, right? That's one of the reasons. But um, I'm seeing my old self like kind of absorb back into this body of a blob that I have now. So that's like I'm seeing my abs again. I'm seeing
Yeah,
my muscles.
positive reinforcement for sure.
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah.
So but as far as the drinking, like I just didn't want it to control my life, and I also didn't want it to become a habit where it's like or right, for example, I want to go to a place and everyone's like, "Oh shit, it's Jeff. What's up, man? How you
Yeah.
doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of like walking into a bar and someone being like, "Oh fuck, this piece of shit walked in," you know, because like there are people like that where
Yeah.
like you're sitting at a bar and you're like, "Fuck, this motherfucker is gonna be
Yeah.
obnoxious and ruin everyone's fucking night. I gotta get
Yeah.
back."
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't want to be that type of person. I want to
Right.
be like everyone's like, "Yo, man, what's going
Yeah.
on?"
Right.
I'm
You're
like,
going back to acceptance. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. Again, right? Going
Yeah.
back to the
Yeah.
full circle.
Yeah. Huh.
That's really about it, you know.
Yeah.
And
I'm right there
I
with
want
you.
I wanted to catch it before it got out of control because
Yeah.
of course like it ran in the family. Abuelito, right, our grandfather, he had a problem for a long time,
Yeah.
and it was not good.
Yeah, dude, it was not good. And there were stories that I heard when I went back to Colombia recently that I was like, I was just shocked. And it kind of like changed it changed how I saw Abuelito, honestly. I was like, holy shit. Like
Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, he was a fucking he was a fucking
Yeah.
animal. But he
Yeah,
was
yeah, he was definitely an animal, definitely alcohol abuse, and definitely mental and physical abuse to the girls. He was very
right.
upset that he didn't have any sons.
Tons.
Yeah, and that made him like really mad for some reason, really resentful, which is crazy. So here's the thing: it's like it's crazy how like that word resent, like whatever that encompasses for people, like it can travel generations if you don't acknowledge it and then fucking work it, right? Or like
Right.
work through it. Because right, you and I both share that sort of resentment with mom, and then I'm sure there's some sort of resentment amongst everybody in that fucking family somehow. Like there's some sort of always some bullshit or some nonsense where I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck is
Bro,
happening.
hold on. A side story. So
Yeah.
Mark's birthday, we were joking about how mom used to
Oh
call.
yeah, so you were talking about this, right?
She used to call Tia and our aunts and our cousins and be like, "I'm gonna call ICE. You guys are gonna get shit back to Colombia," and like
Oh
hang up
wow.
the phone.
Yeah,
Do
wow.
you not remember that?
No, I don't remember
Like,
that.
yo,
You
it's
used
like
to do that, or
yeah, she would torment them.
no way?
They were getting arguments, and mom would call and be like, "I'm gonna call ICE on you," and then just hang up the
Wow.
phone. And like it's like it's going back to that whole resentment thing. That like there was, I'm sure somewhere at some point there was like favoritism, right,
Yeah.
between Abuelito and the girls, and our mother and aunts.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure that you know whatever happened, and that whole thing now it's funny to talk about, right? But
Right.
at the time I'm sure it was, these people are coming here, our cousins are coming here, and they're afraid of getting sent back
Right.
because they had an argument with mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was, and that's, again, I feel like that was something you have to work through it, right? So I guess the point for anybody that's listening is there are things like that you work through, like resentment, the flight or fight mode, and it's things that like you either start becoming aware of, and I think slowly become like, why am I doing this, or why do I feel this way, or why am I acting this way, and then I think the biggest point is like being able to take a moment to really reflect on like, yeah, why am I feeling this way, or well, why am I doing this? And I think for us, breaking that resentment has helped me, and I'm sure it's helped you when you were talking about kind of like forgiving mom for the stuff, the bullshit. And I've shared this before on a podcast where it took me 30 something years to realize, I'm like, well, she probably had a pretty shitty childhood or had a tough childhood, and then she came here and then she needed to do her thing. And at 19, 20, 21 years old, having a kid, what would I have done equally or better? And then I realized, I'm like, nah, probably not. I was like, all right, well, props
Yeah.
to you,
So
mom.
around that time where because you had enlightened me on that, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I always had a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, 100%. Well, of course, we all did.
Right. So I remember one day you had came, and I think it was just you, me, and Mark. I don't know if we were driving or if we're hiking. I can't remember what it was.
Mhm.
But you had said that exact thing to me. It's like, what would you have done better if you were her?
Mm.
And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like I don't know, and probably not. Like she fought through all that, all that abuse in her childhood to make it to America.
Yeah.
And give us this life,
Yeah.
and and there's times where like I'm like, man, they should have, I remember back in, when I was younger, I was like, oh, they should have given us this. It should have been so much more. But like she gave us everything she got,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
that's crazy. It's crazy you say it that way. And she gave us everything she got, which is crazy because I've never heard it that way either. I never processed it in my own head like that. And that makes perfect sense too. which it's everything she's got. And the crazy part, if you play the American history story, right, like the
Right.
crazy part is you then came and then served for America. So like,
Right.
it's fucking nuts. Like, it's a very proud moment that I'm sure, like, I don't know if I'm sure mom's very proud, but I don't know if she's connected it in that way. And if we, like, at some point I'm gonna I'm gonna hit her with that truth. I'm gonna hit her with
No,
that
no,
truth.
she's very. I mean, she tells me all the time she's very
Yeah.
proud. She obviously from when I was very young. I remember watching what's the movie with Tom Hanks, the Saving Private Ryan, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I remember seeing that. I remember I would build like the forts behind the couch and like
Yeah.
pretend I was like in a bunker type.
Yeah.
Do all that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she
You would
was like,
dress up as the silver guy too, like
yeah,
when we Civil War shit when we used to
yeah,
go.
like a soldier, right?
Yeah.
Doing stuff.
Yeah,
Actually,
cute ass Jeff, man. For people to know, I used to be like a fucking model baby. I'm like, this fucking cute ass, this cute ass kid, man. Yeah,
and so I mean,
Mark.
right? Like,
Yeah,
and
sorry,
but
Mark. Just kidding.
but at some point, right? Like she was like, I always knew you were gonna join the army and be
Yeah,
a military, right? She
yeah,
would
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I wanted to for a long time, and then I forgot about it, right? Like we
yeah,
try to make a name for ourselves. We try to make our way through life without having to work for anybody else.
yeah.
Which I mean, you're doing, right? Like you're doing everything on your own. You did everything you promised yourself you were gonna do.
You're getting there.
Um,
Thanks.
but um, but she always knew I was gonna join the military, which I right. I'm proud of myself for doing it. I could say I've done it, and by meeting the people I met by moving down here, down to South Jersey, working for the brewery, meeting these veterans, it reignited my patriotism,
Yeah,
right? Wanting to serve and, do something more than who I was at the time,
yeah,
which, I thoroughly believe I have, not a lot of people could say that I did what I did.
yeah.
What
100%.
I've done.
I'm super proud of you. I fucking love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
Yeah, yeah. You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. Yeah, Jeff. I fucking love you, man. I love you very, very much. Like, it's insane how much I love you and Mark, obviously too. But yeah, you're the fucking homie. All right, so we're definitely gonna have to get back on. We're gonna have to do this again, right? Because I think this is a good one. But we have tons of more other things that we can get you on. So we're gonna have to get you back again on this one. But let me close off by saying a couple things. I love you very much. I appreciate you. Some of the things that you've dealt with, I've dealt with, and I can see why, right? Growing up the way we did, and I'm happy that you're at a level right now where you're mentally like conscious enough to like work through these things, and to hear that you were making these changes, especially like with the drinking and what you wanted to do and how you're making it, makes me really, really, really proud. Really, really proud to know that you're doing that. And so I guess that being said, I usually ask 3 questions at the end, and I'm going to ask you these probably like 3.5 questions. First question would be like, if anyone's going or has gone through some of the things that you've gone through, right? Whether it's resentment, being locked up, or just sort of not taken advantage of, as far as not like getting what they give out. And then having maybe that like level of anxiety, that almost walking on eggshells, like you're doing something wrong. Like, what's something that you would like share with people that may be dealing with something like that?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me? Reload. We're almost done. Reload. What a great question. You better not play. You better not be just analyzing and pretending you're frozen. Reload again, because we're almost done. So for anybody that's listening while we wait for Jeff again, this was a special episode, absolutely special episode. It's great to have my brother on here. I can't wait to get Mark on here. That'd be great too. And I would say for anyone that's listening, definitely reach out to the homies, your family, your brothers, especially his brothers and sisters.
Sorry.
He made such a great impact on me. So did you hear the question?
Dropped off towards the end of like, what I would, get, what information, what I
Yeah. What would you say to somebody that's potentially going through that? And then for a second, I thought you froze on purpose and you were just trying to think.
No. I was like, because I saw you froze, and I'm like, oh my god, it happened again. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with connection. So South Jersey, I'm in the Pines, right? So
It's okay. Yeah.
whatever happens, but it's spooky down here in these parts. It's the Jersey Devil. But anyway, so what I would I don't know. I like what I would suggest, right? Because everyone's different. Like whatever works
Yeah.
best for you. What I would suggest in terms of like walking on eggshells or anxiety or not getting what you want, you have to look what you gave to yourself first,
Mm.
right? You have to acknowledge how you're reacting to yourself first. Um, you know, and ask yourself why are you doing the things that you're doing? Because without you knowing that and being true to yourself and having some type of acknowledgement,
Mm.
you're not gonna get what you want out of life, right? Like I'm starting to see and feel the things that I'm like, oh man, this is exactly what I wanted. but
Fantastic.
I kept fighting myself on it.
Yeah.
So don't fight yourself. um and then in terms of like substances, in terms of like alcohol or whatever it is a person chooses to do with themselves, whether it's smoking,
Yeah.
smoking pot, fucking, or any of the other fucking 1,000 drugs that are out there. um I'm gonna put it in the words of Coach Russo, right? Like famous coach, if you guys haven't heard of him.
Shout out to Coach Russo.
uh so it's like, right, like you have the ability to stop that. It's not, you can't control you. And this is his quote: if you don't mind, it don't matter. Right? So
Mm.
it's not a thing. It's not going to control you. Don't let it
Mm.
control you. You are the living, breathing thing to this world.
Yeah.
Just 'cause
You're the controller.
right, that bottle isn't calling your name. It's not
Mm.
whispering to you. You're the one who's coming up with that.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, and if you, and I would say, if you have the ability to do so, just like you said, kind of ask yourself, why am I doing this?
right.
And why is it worth the why of why I'm doing it, and like the result ultimately? Because if you find, like you said, like you wake up, you find yourself, you're like, fuck, I have to send these apologies. I don't know what I did. It's like, do you really want to keep doing that?
Right.
Like it's funny because like with me, sometimes alcohol now, it's like yesterday I had like a, I don't know, like El Jefe margarita, whatever. It was just one, but I just same thing. Like at night afterwards, my body digested it. In the morning, I'm just like, I didn't need it. Like it was fine, but like then your body has to recover. Like, and then
Right.
if you do more than that, it's like the recovery process. Like you feel like shit, then you have to drink mad water, and it's just, and it like slows you down a little bit. So it's like that's even my reason now why, when I'm in there, like when people are like, hey, do you want something to drink? Usually 9 out of 10 times, if I go out to dinner, I don't usually get a drink. I'm like, I'll just grab my water, or I'll ask for like bougie water. I'll be like, let me get your bougiest bottled water, please. um, which is pretty funny. But dude, really great feedback and perspective on you, man. I really appreciate that. So, okay. So next question is, what is your biggest regret so far in life?
It's a good
It's a good,
question.
thank you.
Uh,
It's a people. It's a great
yeah.
question. Man. Yeah.
Uh, I think my biggest regret in life is probably not forgiving myself for not understanding and taking the time to realize why I was so self-destructive.
Mm, mm. Wow. It's fucking beautiful, Jeff. If you were here, I'd give you a hug. Big fucking hug. You big fucking bear. Look at you. Yeah, that's awesome, Jeff. That's super sweet, man. What a great perspective. Can I share with you one of mine?
What's that?
One of my biggest regrets?
Yeah.
Uh, putting my hands on you when we got into a fight. Like,
Yeah, that's
that
cool.
like fighting with you, putting my hands on Pops. The one time I fucking suplexed him,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
and then in general, okay, so those were the first two ones that always popped into my head. And then I realized, I was like, like that, obviously because we're so close. But then I realized, then it was like a category of like physical violence. So like my physical violence, I think, is my biggest regret. You Pops being one of the top people up there. And then everybody else, like in terms of the relationships that I was, especially like people that were closest to me, girlfriends, for a while. So that is some, like, absolutely to this day my biggest regret. And I wish I would have done things differently, or acted on things differently. So yeah, so I just want to let you know that those are always when I ask the question, like, those are always the things I fucking think about. I'm like, fuck, I wish that never would have happened, and at all. So I wanted to share that with you.
They did, and I forgive you. So I
Yeah,
hope I always have. So
yeah, yeah. That
it
was terrible, man. Yeah, it was just such a bad day. Such a bad day.
well, we've grown up. We've grown from that. So um, and I regret it too. There's no, we were always supposed to protect each other. There was
Yeah,
never any fighting. Of course, it's just that I would dwindle down to like animal fucking DNA, right? Like going back to like survival, like testing each other's
yeah,
strength and
yeah,
things like that. Um, but I don't think it was I don't think it was out of malice in terms of you wanting to actually physically hurt me in terms of like killing me.
yeah.
Uh,
Never. Yeah,
but I know that there is a rage that is inside of me that I still have to deal with. That once it turns on, there's no turning it off until whatever my redness,
yeah.
you
Until you
know,
stop seeing red. Yeah,
yeah, goes
yeah.
away.
I've been right there, man, and I've been there, and I know that there's definitely a light to it. So there's definitely a moments where that says subsides. I think I'm still working with through it, but I'm not like the last time I threw something or put my hands on it at any time has been a long, it's been years. So it's a good thing, and you can definitely get there. And I think you're on the right path as far as how you're thinking and how you're moving through life in these last couple of months, years since you've been back. So same thing. I'm super proud of you. All right, you ready for the next question?
Yep.
Okay. What's been your biggest accomplishment so far?
In life,
Yes. Outside of family and kids, if you have them, or if you don't
don't.
know. If you don't know, if you
I
have
mean,
them somewhere.
I don't have a wife or children that I know of.
Got it.
I mean, if they're out there, I'm sorry. I don't know because I'm
Email him
not.
at gmail.com. Go ahead.
But no, yeah. I mean, I think my biggest accomplishment is this house that I live in
Mm,
because I've always done everything for the point of like proving people wrong and um proving myself right. But that's neither here or there. I didn't want to keep paying somebody to live in a slum apartment,
yeah.
not go anywhere, and then kind of like play out the next years of my life, being like, what am I going to do? I don't have anything that's my own. I'm sleeping on a couch in my father's living room,
Mm,
you
mm,
know, and I just didn't want that for myself. I remember growing up as a kid having a house, right, and being
yeah.
part of a community,
Yeah, it was awesome.
right,
That
and
definitely helped, dude. So not to cut you, but quickly, it definitely had like growing up in that community with those type of people around us.
right,
That definitely helped the insanity.
yeah,
That definitely helped the balance.
right. So exactly like I think my biggest accomplishment, and not saying that I live in a fucking 3-story mansion or whatever.
Yeah,
Like I have a very modest bungalow, which is a 2 bedroom, less than
yeah,
900 square feet. You
yeah.
know, the kitchen, the living room is all one one room.
Yeah, you got a studio apartment as a house, which is great though.
Right,
Well,
right.
it's a studio house, really
But
what it is.
I have land, I have my
Yeah,
own place, and no one can tell me that they're going to come and check out my toilet, at 3 o'clock in
yeah,
the morning. So
yeah. Right.
it's mine,
Good man.
and
Good.
along with it, obviously, I brought Mark in on helping me get the house because at the time I couldn't technically purchase one because
Yeah. No,
my employment. So he helped me and we own it together as brothers, right? So,
yeah.
but in the future moving forward, the plan is to get a second house,
Yeah.
and
100%.
keep moving forward from there.
Yeah.
So,
Biggest accomplishment. That's a good proud moment, man. Good stuff. I'm just gonna add for myself. I think you going through the army was huge too, man. Like being able to go through like those weeks and then doing what you need to do. So like
I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. It was
yeah,
hard, especially like not being able to talk to everyone, and it's a sacrifice that you can't explain.
yeah,
Like
I know.
everyone talks about sacrifices, And it's like everyone's like, "Oh, thank you for your sacrifices, thank you for,"
Yeah.
it's like, and it's like you can't, unless you have done it,
Yeah.
you can't explain it,
Yeah.
because
100%.
it's like you're, all right, think of it this way: you're getting ripped from your home, right? Not saying that the army did that. I did that voluntarily, but imagine like waking up, you got to go right there. They
Yeah,
take
you
you away
signed
from
up, man.
everything
Yep.
for a year, right, or longer, and then everybody's life is continuing to move forward, but you're being forced to sit and do the same thing every single day
Yeah.
for a year. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, guess what? We're going to place you back into what everyone is doing. And now you have to act as if nothing happened.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's
So
crazy.
and you're missing chunks. Like you don't know time points that happen. You miss birthdays. You come home, your dog is older, right? Like
To save your
little
dog.
simple things like that, right? Like
Right,
simple
right.
that. It's like what it's those things that doesn't seem like a lot when you're telling that to somebody unless you
Yeah.
experience it.
Yeah. Unless you experience it. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. So definitely be grateful for those moments that you have, even if they're small. I like it. Very cool.
Yeah, bitch, be grateful. Well,
All right, and then all right. So last question for you. And I think we touched base, unless maybe it's something different or maybe there's like more depth to it. What's one thing that you're working on changing right now for the better?
um changing for the better. I mean, I think what I'm really, I mean, I've touched on and harped on it this whole thing, but I think for the better really is just physically and mentally stronger and more available in terms of um, energy for myself and the intestinal fortitude for myself.
Mm.
You know, so
How about
it's
love? How about love? Love too? Are you working on love? Do you have?
yeah. I mean, I'm working on love. There's one. I I have love for this one person, but I know that I had caused irreparable damage to this relationship that I had with this person.
Yeah.
And right now it's just like I don't really have the interest of anybody else.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like just doing the thing where I'm just waiting around.
What about
But
love for yourself though? As well?
yeah, so like I mean that's in terms of relationship love, but
Mhm.
love for myself, I think I'm have been forgiving, which in terms allows me to love myself
Oof.
deeper and then take myself out, in terms of like dates, like, oh, I'm going out to go do this by myself,
Right.
and enjoy every second of it, even if I'm going out to a park to sit on a bench and just look at the ocean
Mm.
or go on a walk, something simple like that. Or, I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm going to go have a steak dinner. I'm going to go sit down. I'm going to have a 3-course meal by myself and I'm going to love every fucking second of it.
Hey, love that, dude. That's
so
great.
so it's like like just doing that, doing things that I've never done by myself for myself.
Yeah.
So but in
Very
terms of
cool.
relationship love, there
That's a whole nother
that's
episode.
a whole
Thanks for listening, everybody.
that's
Cool,
a
Jeff. Hey,
whole
man, look, I really just again want to say I appreciate you for everything that you are, everything that you've done, everything that you're continuing to do, and what you've taken on, most recently as far as to giving yourself that love. And I'm glad that we got a chance to talk about it. I'm glad that this is a good one. So we got to get you again here because I know there's plenty of things that we can touch base on and then reinforce some of the things like growing up and all these things that we already sort of touched on base, but even some of the happy things that we can talk about because I think that would be great. So guys, thanks for listening. Again, remember it's all in our heads. We just have to change the way we were thinking, the thoughts in our head at the time. Either do something physical, go outside, do some push-ups, maybe jump in the ice bath, listen to some music, punch a punching bag, do something that changes what you're thinking about and then alters the body. And after that, I promise you'll start feeling a lot better.
That's right.
And
Go climb, and if you don't mind, it don't matter.
yeah, if you don't mind, it don't matter. So thanks you guys for listening. Don't forget, nothing changes until you do. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. All right, let me stop this recording.